Okay, this gets me to my examples in the video. The first example I'm bringing out is Abraham and Sarah, and this is from the Bible. This is Genesis 12, and I'm just bringing this point out so people can understand, especially new people in the truth that's afraid to go in other books, to show how the Bible is incomplete. We've been told that the Bible is complete, and this is the only book we need. This is a lie. This will prove that, to show that the Bible is incomplete. This is the story of when Abraham went to Egypt. There was a famine in the land, and him and his family, they went to Egypt. And I'm going to skip around, but you know this story, and we've already talked about this, and we touched on this. It says when we come in, the Egyptians will see you, and they will say, this is your wife. He says, then they will kill me, but let you live. He says, say you are my sister, so that I will be treated well for your sake, and my life will be spared because of you. So he's telling Sarah to say to them that you are my sister. Now, I'm going to make a point here because many people get tripped up. Why is Abraham lying? He's lying. Actually, he's not lying. He's just not telling the whole picture. He's leaving some of the story out. And let's see this. Genesis 20 and 12. This is Abraham speaking. But indeed, she is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. So we're seeing that she is truly his sister, and they were half sisters. But he didn't tell them that she was his wife. It says, when Abram came to Egypt, the Egyptians saw that Sarah was a very beautiful woman. And the Pharaoh officers saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh, and she was taken into his place. He treated Abram well for her sake, and Abram acquired sheep, cattle, male and female donkeys. Pay attention to this: male and female servants, and camels. You wonder how Abraham acquired all that he had. Verse 17, but Yahuah inflicted serious diseases on Pharaoh and his household because of Abram's wife, Sarah. So Pharaoh summoned Abram. What have you done to me? He said. Why didn't you tell me she's your wife? And why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her to be my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and go. Then Pharaoh gave orders about Abram to his men, and they sent him away with his wife and everything he had. So the story is finished here in the Bible. It's finished. It's done. If you read this in the Bible, you're going on to the next story now. Incomplete. What happened? How did Pharaoh know this? How did Abraham know that they would kill him? He just didn't know, he knew from himself. No, something happened, and we don't get the complete story of what happened. Do not be afraid to go outside of the Bible. Now, let's go to Joshua 15. And again, I'm going to skip around here. You can go back and read this whole story when you have time. Okay, this is the famine. They leaving. They're going to Egypt. This is Joshua 15. Let's see. And I'm going to start at verse 4. And Abram said to his wife, since Elohim has created you with such beautiful countenance, and all the scriptures agree she was beautiful. He says, I'm afraid of the Egyptians, lest they should slay me and take you away. For the fear of Yahuah is not in these places. Now, he knew and understood, if man don't fear Yahuah, he will do anything. And he don't trust any man that do not fear Yahuah. This is a nugget for you right here. Any man that does not trust Yahuah, do not trust this person. This person will do any and everything against you. This person don't fear the Most High, especially when they claim that they know him. So he goes on to tell her that you're my sister. If not, they will put me to death. Let's see. Okay. He gave all, it says verse 6, Abraham commanded all those that came with him to Egypt on account of the famine. Also his nephew Lot commanded them, saying, if the Egyptians ask you concerning Sarah, say she is my sister. So he told them to tell them, that everyone, that she was his sister. And yet with all these orders, Abram did not put confidence in them, but he took Sarah and placed her in a chest. Okay, this is when he concealed her. He put her in a chest to conceal her. He was trying to hide her. Okay, I'm going to skip here, because the Egyptians saw the chest. They wanted to know what was in it. They asked for a tenth, for tithes. And when they saw her, they took her, and they took her before Pharaoh. They took her to Pharaoh's house. And Abraham was grieved. Verse 16, Abraham was grieved on account of his wife, and he prayed to Yahuah to deliver her from the hands of Pharaoh. So we saw nowhere in the Bible where Abraham prayed. We saw nowhere in the Bible where Abraham cried out to Yahuah. We didn't see it. And verse 17, and Sarah also prayed. So Sarah crying out to Yahuah. We didn't see this. This is not in the Bible. She prayed at the time and said, this is Sarah's prayer. Oh Yahuah Elohim, you did tell my master Abram to go from his land and from his father's house to the land of Canaan. Now she's telling the Most High what he commanded him to do, and he did it. He says, and he did the promise to do well with him. You promised to do well with him, and he performed your commandments. She's saying, now behold, we have done what you commanded us to do. Listen, she knew they've done what he commanded them to do. When you do what he command you to do, believe no matter what the situation is, he have you in his hands. He got you. She's saying, and this sounds like us today. And we left our land and our families. The people that came out of Babylon, we left our land and we left our families. Mighty funny how scripture there's nothing new under the sun. It's like we're reliving the scripture all over again. We left our land and our families, and we went to a strange land. This land over here, when we got here, this was strange land to us. Strange land, strange people, people of another tongue that we did not understand, but we are learning it. People whom we have not known before. And we came to this land to avoid the famine. And this evil accident has befallen us. Now therefore, Yahuah, deliver us, save us from the hand of this oppressor, and do well with me for the sake of your kindness. And Yahuah hearkened to the voice of Sarah, and Yahuah sent a messenger to deliver Sarah from the power of Pharaoh. So now we're seeing him sending a messenger to deliver Sarah from the power of Pharaoh. And the king came and sat before Sarah, and behold, the messenger of Yahuah was standing over them. And he appeared to Sarah and said to her, do not fear, for Yahuah has heard your prayer. Yahuah has heard your cry. She cried out to him. Because why? Remember what I said. If you're in danger, your life is in danger, this is a time to cry out. Abraham's life was in danger. He was about to die. And the king approached Sarah and said to her, what is this man to you that you brought him here? And she said, he's my brother. This is the truth, half brother. And the king said, it is incumbent upon us to make him great, to elevate him. So he wanted to make him great and elevate him. And this is what he did. At the time the king sent Abram, he gave him silver, gold, precious stones in abundance. You wonder where his wealth came from. Together with cattle, men servants and maid servants. Once again, pay attention here. And the king ordered Abram to be brought and sat in the court of the king's house. And the king greatly exalted Abram that night. And the king approached to speak to Sarah, and he reached his hand out to touch her. And the messenger smote him heavily, and he was terrified, and he refrained from touching her. And the messenger on that night smote heavily. Listen, this messenger smote all the servants of the king, his whole household, on account of Sarah. And there was great lamentation that night amongst the people of Pharaoh's house. And Pharaoh, seeing the evil that befall him, said, surely on account of this woman has this happened to me? Now he understands on account of this woman, this is why this is happening. And he removed himself a distance from her and spoke pleasing words about her. And the king said to Sarah, tell me, I pray, these things concerning the man whom you came. And she said, this man is my husband. And I said to you, listen to this. Now we understand how he knew. See, the Bible doesn't give us this. Now we understand how he knew. And I said that he was my brother, for I was afraid lest you should put him to death through wickedness. And the king kept away from Sarah, and the plagues of the messenger of Yahuah ceased from him and his household. And Pharaoh knew. Now he know for a fact that he was smitten on account of Sarah. And he was greatly astonished at this. Okay, in the morning he called the king. Now he called Abraham. Now he asked Abraham, what is this you've done to me? Why did you do this? Why did you say she's my sister, knowing that she was your wife? And heavy plagues therefore came upon me and my household. He says, now therefore we know what had happened. Take Sarah, take your possession, take your cattle. He gave him abundance. And verse 31, and the king took a maid whom he begotten by his concubine and gave her to Sarah as a handmaid. Now we understand where these handmaids came from, these servants came from. And the king said to his daughter, this was his daughter. Now you have to get this. It is better for you, my daughter, to be a handmaid in this man's house than to be a mistress in my house. After we have beheld the evil that befallen us on account of this woman, he's telling her, you're better off with them than being in the king's house. This man is mightier and greater. This man and this woman, they are mightier and greater than I, even though I am the king. And so he put his daughter in the hands of them. And Abram rose, he and his belonging, they went from Egypt. And Pharaoh ordered some men to accompany them. They make sure that they was out safely. And now, let's go deeper into the story, because there is more to the story. This is the Dead Sea Scrolls. Watch this. On the night we entered into Egypt, I, Abraham, dreamed a dream. A point here. When you dream a dream, make sure you pray about this dream. Yahuah sends messages. He always sends messages to us through dreams. The problem is most people don't understand what their dreams mean. They think that was a dumb, stupid dream, and they ignore it. And what happens? You dream the same dream again. He's trying, when you dream a dream multiple times, he is trying to get your attention. Ask him, what does this dream mean? And he will let you know what the dream means. He says, I saw in a dream a cedar tree and a palm tree. Men came and they sought to cut down the cedar tree and pull up its roots, leaving the palm tree alone. Okay, this palm tree, these trees, the cedar tree, it was Abram. The palm tree was Sarah, and they was going to take up the palm tree and leave the other. And we go. The next sentence says, but the palm tree cried out. Here is Sarah crying out to the Most High. Do not cut down this cedar tree, for cursed is he who shall make it fall. And the cedar tree was spared because of the palm tree, and did not fall. It says, and during the night I woke from the dream, and I said to Sarah my wife, I dreamed a dream. I am fearful because of this dream. She said to me, tell me what the dream, that I may know. And he said, I began to tell her the dream, interpretation of the dream, that they will seek to kill me, but spare you. Now this is how he knew that they was going to seek to kill him and to spare her. So you see, it's not the story that we see in the Bible. We didn't see any of this in the Bible because the Bible is incomplete. He said, they seek to kill me and spare you. Say to them for me that he is my brother, and because of you I shall live, and because of you my life shall be saved. And Sarah wept that night on account of my words. Then we journeyed towards Zon, and I and Sarah, but her life that none should see her. Now we're going into the account of when they, after the dream, what had happened, what he saw.